Hello and welcome back to another build video. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and let's go! Today we are showing my Gravecaller build, and this is based on Graveborn and Blightcaller as the two classes, and we are using both of the Blightcaller's action skills for this build. This action skill makes us summon a bug totem companion at a target location, and this bug totem shoots an elemental spirit that tracks enemies and explodes on impact, dealing ability damage. And the damage type is based on the currently equipped gun when activating it. And when we kill an enemy with a bug totem active, we restore its duration by 10%. And it has 2 charges and a total of 4 totems can be active at the same time. So we are using the bug totem for mobbing, and we are using Plague Storm for bossing. And this action skill makes us summon a Plague Storm at a targeted location that deals poison damage over time. When we damage enemies under it, the storm stores 25% of the damage dealt and periodically blasts down elemental bolts that deal ability damage equal to the damage stored. And these bolts will be in a random element, and when they strike down they will also clear all the stored damage. For the Blightcaller skill tree, we want to start out by putting 5 points into Geist in the Shell. This skill makes our gun critical hits have a chance to create a bog spirit that deals poison ability damage and explodes on impact. The chance is 20% and the damage is 35% of the gun critical hit damage. We want to put 3 points into 𝕃𝕚𝕚𝕖, and this is a kill skill, so a portion of our maximum ward is restored and it's 21%. We want to put 3 points into 𝕃𝕚𝕚𝕓𝕖, and this increases our fire rate by 15%, and when we swap our guns, the bonus is doubled for 5 seconds. We want to put 5 points into Flawless Edge, and this will increase our damage dealt based on how full our ward is, and it's 30% when ward is full, but we're getting +4 from the class mod or the armor that we're using, and end up at 54% when the ward is full. We want to put 3 points into Worse Curse, and this will increase our spell and ability damage whenever we apply a dark magic status effect, and it's 9% per stack and max stacks is 3. And we mainly want the ability damage increase here because it's gonna help our Geist in the Shell, the 2 action skills that we are using, and the Dark Hydras from the Graveborn skill tree. We want to put 3 points into Burnt Offering, and this will increase our gun damage and spell cooldown rate every time we apply a fire status effect. It's 9% for the gun damage and 12% for the spell cooldown rate per stack, and the max stacks here is also 3. For the last skill point in the Blightcaller skill tree, we want to put it into Restore the Veil, and this will increase our maximum ward with 30%, but it will also decrease our maximum health by 30%, but we are able to restore ward instead of health whenever we do dark magic damage. For the Graveborn skill tree, we want to start out with Mortal Vessel, and we put 5 points in here, and this will increase our maximum health and dark magic efficiency by 15%. We want to put 5 points into Essence Drain, and this is a kill skill that reduces our spell cooldown rate by 25% for 12 seconds. We want to put 3 points into Fateful Thralls, and this will increase our damage dealt by 9% per companion. We want to put 4 points into Dark Pact, and this will increase our dark magic damage by 16%, and I know this is not the best skill to put points into, but we don't really benefit that much from Sanguine Sacrament or Harvest, so that's why I put it into Dark Pact. We want to put 3 points into Dark Hydra, and this is another kill skill that gives us a chance to summon a Dark Hydra companion that deals dark magic ability damage, and it's 60% chance. And for the last skill point for the build, we want to put it into Lord of Edges, and this increases our damage dealt the lower our health is, and it's 25% increased damage dealt and 20% damage reduction, but we have +1 from our armor here, so we end up on 50% damage dealt and 40% damage reduction. For the hero points, we start out by maxing Strength, and this will increase our critical hit damage. We also want to max out Attunement, and this will increase our action skill cooldown rate. And the last points I put into Intelligence to increase our spell cooldown rate. Now, let's take a look at the gear. The main weapon we are using for this build is the Gluttony of the Carver. And this is a Furior weapon, so you throw this out and it will explode on impact, and this creates a dagger storm. And when you throw this weapon out, it puts you down to 49% maximum HP, but that will also increase the damage of the weapon with 100%. And since we are using a Deathless armor that always puts our HP to 1 HP, we will always have this effect. The enchantment we have here is on action skill start, increase damage dealt by 20% for 20 seconds. An easy way to make sure that the effect of the Gluttony of the Carver actually is active is to look at the muzzle flashing red whenever the effect is active. We hit for around 65k per bullet, and while changing the weapon, we hit 75k instead, and we also get the 𝕃𝕚𝕚𝕖 effect. As you can see, the Geists, they hit really hard as well, almost 300k, and on a crit it's gonna be almost double. And the reload effect of this is gonna be crazy damage, depending on if we do a crit and have all the stacks up. It goes from around 200k up to like 600k, and as you can see, the Geists, they hit for millions, because this weapon can actually proc Geists without shooting it. The rest of the weapons slotted are completely personal preferences that I like to play around with this build, and it's the Divergent, it's the Shadowfire, and it's the Boniface Soul. But as I said, it's gonna be Gluttony of the Carver that is the main weapon for the build. And that's also the reason I haven't really bothered with enchanting my other weapons. For the melee weapon we are using a Twin Soul of the Assassin, and that's because this melee weapon comes with 2 hilt mods, and we have Amped, so melee attacks amplify the damage of your next 3 gunshots by 50% for the next 10 seconds. And we also have Echo. Melee attacks deal 10% of all non-melee damage dealt by the Fatemaker over the last 10 seconds as bonus damage. But if you really only have one of these roles, I would recommend Echo over Amped. And the enchantment we have here is on spell cast, increase damage dealt by 15% for 10 seconds. And for the armor, which is the most important part for the whole build, you want to have a Deathless. And this armor reserves all but 1 HP and returning 150% as ward capacity, and our ward regeneration delay is reduced by 50%. But as I mentioned earlier, the specific effect of this armor is what is gonna cause the specific effect of the Gluttony of the Carver to be up all the time. This armor will also maximize the benefit of the Lord of Edges skill. And the skills we have here is +1 into Lord of Edges and +4 into Flawless Edge. And it's Blightcaller power and Graveborn power. And the roles we have is gun damage, companion critical hit chance, and melee critical hit chance, which doesn't really benefit us at all. And I would like to have this in higher than chaotic tier, but it still works really good. For the shield we are using a body rune, and this makes us restore 15% of our maximum health and deal 20% bonus fire damage for a short duration whenever we kill an enemy. And the restoration of the health is not really gonna benefit us, but the bonus fire damage is going to benefit us, because we have Burnt Offering from the Skilltree. The enchantment we have here is on action skill start, increase gun damage by 40% for 10 seconds. For the rings we are using Felty Oath, and this is a Ferrier one of course, since we are using mainly a Ferrier weapon, and it's Ferrier damage, Ferrier critical hit chance, and Ferrier magazine size. And on swapping your current gun, this ring's effectiveness is increased by 50% for 6 seconds. And the second ring is also a Felty Oath, Ferrier gun damage, Ferrier critical hit chance, but here we have Ferrier critical hit damage instead of the magazine size. To always have the bonus up from these rings, you want to make sure to swap weapons each 6 seconds, which actually works really well with 𝕃𝕚𝕚𝕖 that is active for 5 seconds. For the necklace we are using a Thurge, and this has dark magic damage, Blightcaller power, gun magazine size, and dark magic efficiency. And the effect of this necklace is going to help us have our action skills more often, since whenever we cast a spell we reduce the action skill cooldown by 20%. And for the spell we are using a Lovestruck bow, and this spell makes us summon 2 bow companions that fire at nearby enemies, and the crossbolt this spell shoots is going to increase our damage by 4% for each crossbolt stuck on the target. And the bolts last for 6 seconds. And this spell shoots 1 time per second, but since we have a ×2, it's gonna shoot 2 times per second instead. And we also have 2 spell charges. The main reason we are using this specific spell is to gain Fateful Thrall stacks, and also to apply the crossbolts. And the enchantment we have here is on spell cast, increase ability damage by 30% for 10 seconds. Now, let's take a look at some boss melting.